I used to believe my life was ordinary in the safest way possible. I woke up every morning at the same time, brewed my coffee just a little too strong, and watched sunlight crawl across the kitchen floor of my small rented house. The neighborhood was quiet, predictable, and polite. People smiled, waved, and asked how my day was without really waiting for the answer. For a long time, I thought that was enough. I thought peace meant safety. I was wrong. I moved into that neighborhood 3 years ago, carrying nothing but two suitcases and a past I refused to unpack. The house was modest, almost invisible among the others, and that was exactly why I chose it. I wanted to disappear into routine. I wanted my pain to dissolve into normal days and sleepless nights that no one noticed. Back then, I didn't know that normal life can be the perfect place for betrayal to hide. Sarah Thompson was the first neighbor to welcome me. She appeared at my door with a warm smile and a plate of cookies that tasted store bought but came with genuine enthusiasm. She talked a lot about the neighborhood, the people, the unspoken rules. I listened, nodded, and smiled back. People like Sarah made life easier, or so I thought. She became the background noise of my days, always present, always watching. Jonathan Reed lived across the street. He was the kind of man people trusted instantly: calm voice, steady gaze, helpful hands. He fixed broken fences, carried groceries for the elderly, and never missed a chance to offer help. When my sink broke during my first month there, he was the one who showed up with tools and patience. At the time, I thought kindness was his nature. Later, I learned it was his disguise. Melissa Grant lived two houses down. She was sharp, observant, and far quieter than Sarah. People underestimated her because she smiled gently and spoke softly. But I noticed how her eyes lingered, how she remembered details others forgot. We bonded over afternoon tea and shared silence. Melissa was the only person who never asked about my past. That alone made me trust her. Robert Hayes was the unofficial ruler of the neighborhood. Well connected, well respected, and well practiced in looking innocent. He hosted community meetings, charity events, and barbecues that everyone attended. His handshake was firm, his laughter loud, and his reputation spotless. Nicholas Turner, on the other hand, rarely showed his face. He lived at the edge of the neighborhood, kept to himself, and avoided gatherings. Most people thought he was strange. I knew he was careful. For a while, my life settled into a rhythm: work, home, small talk, sleep. I convinced myself I had escaped what happened before. I convinced myself that silence meant healing. But betrayal has a way of resurfacing, especially when it knows your name. It started with small things: mail that arrived already opened, conversations that stopped when I walked by, looks that lingered a second too long. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. Trauma does that. I thought it makes you suspicious. But deep down, something felt wrong, like a familiar shadow returning. One evening, Sarah casually mentioned something she shouldn't have known: detail about my previous job, a city I never talked about. I laughed it off, but my chest tightened. I knew then that my past wasn't as buried as I believed. Someone had been digging. That night, I barely slept. Memories I had tried to forget crept back in. I remembered the betrayal that destroyed my life once before. The false accusations, the whispers, the people I trusted turning their backs on me to protect themselves. I remembered losing everything while others walked away untouched. I had changed my name, my city, my habits, but I hadn't changed one thing: the truth. The next morning, I stopped being passive. I started observing. I listened more than I spoke. I noticed patterns. Sarah, who talked too much but said nothing useful. Jonathan helped everyone but remembered everything. Robert controlled information like a currency, and Nicholas Turner watched them all from a distance, just like I did. It was Nicholas who finally spoke to me. Not directly, not dramatically, just a quiet conversation while we both stood at the edge of the street one evening watching the sun disappear. He told me I wasn't as hidden as I thought. He told me people here weren't as innocent as they seemed, and he told me that my past had already been discussed without me. I didn't ask how he knew. I already trusted him more than the others. Instead, I asked why he was telling me. Nicholas looked at me and said something I would never forget. He said he recognized the look of someone waiting for justice in a place that only offers silence. That was when my plan began. Not out of anger, but clarity. I wasn't going to run again. I wasn't going to confront anyone openly. I was going to let them reveal themselves the same way they once forced me to. I played my role perfectly. I stayed polite. I attended gatherings. I smiled at Robert's jokes and thanked Jonathan for his help. I let Sarah talk because people who talk too much eventually say the wrong thing, and they did. Slowly, carefully, I documented everything: inconsistencies, contradictions, quiet threats disguised as concern. Melissa noticed what I was doing long before anyone else. One afternoon, she simply said, "Be careful who you trust, Amanda, but don't stop." That was her way of joining me. Well, the truth unraveled faster than I expected. Jonathan had been feeding information about residents to Robert, who used it to maintain control and eliminate threats to his image. Sarah was the messenger, spreading rumors while pretending to care. And my past betrayal, the one that destroyed my life years ago, wasn't an accident. Robert had been involved back then too. Different cities, same methods. The realization didn't break me, it freed me. I didn't expose them with anger or public accusations. I didn't need to. I simply placed the truth where it couldn't be ignored. Documents sent anonymously, evidence delivered quietly, conversations recorded and shared with the right people, the kind of people Robert couldn't charm. When the consequences came, they came fast. Robert lost his influence overnight. Jonathan's reputation collapsed under scrutiny. Sarah disappeared from everyone's life the way I once had. No dramatic confrontations, no shouting, just silence replacing their power. On the day everything fell apart for them, I made coffee like usual. I watched sunlight cross the floor like it always did. Nothing in my routine changed, and that was the point. Nicholas left the neighborhood not long after. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't need to. Melissa stayed, still quiet, still observant. The neighborhood returned to something resembling peace, but this time it was real. People often think revenge has to be loud to be satisfying. They think it has to hurt visibly. Mine didn't. Mine was invisible, precise, and permanent. I didn't take back what they stole. I took away what they used to hurt others. Now, when people ask me about my life, I tell them it's normal, and it is. But beneath that normal life is a truth I no longer run from. I didn't survive betrayal just to remain silent forever. I survived to make sure it never happened again.